In this video, I would love to show you how you can make a component for your website or something else to show some information from your GitHub profile. So yeah, let's first check out the GitHub API, and well, in the URL let's bump up the text, and you can see this is the endpoint of my GitHub URL, and well, you can see all the information that I have filled in. You can see my name. Well, I don't have filled in a company. You can see that I'm living in the Netherlands and a lot more. You can see my followers and who I'm following. So if someone tells you, hey, you need an API, well, this is what most of the people mean with an API. So I'm going to show you how you can use this with vanilla JavaScript. And well, I have here make a profile component, but this is going to be a GitHub profile component. And I'm not going to focus on styling. I'm just going to focus on the JavaScript, because that's what we do here right now. So we need to make a request to the API in order to get the data. So let's make a function and let's call it get data. And I'm gonna use the Fetch API, and I'm gonna use this in combination with Async and await. So let's make a variable data. I'm gonna use a let for this, because the data can change. Well, you can also use a constant, but most of the time a constant, you cannot change the data. If you want to know more, go to the Mr. Frontend website, and there is a blog post about the difference and the scoping of the var, the let, and the const. So we have a let var, and we're gonna do the Fetch API. So it's the Fetch. I'm gonna put a link in the description if you want to know more about the Fetch API, so you can read it. So this is gonna do a get request. Let's put await. Let's move this up a little bit, and then do console.log from the data. So now we need to call that function get data, and see we don't get the response of the JSON, because we need something else. We need to get our JSON. So let's call this JSON. And data.json, that's a method right now. And let's see what comes out of that. It's a promise. So let's see, we have that JSON right now, but we need to do await. Otherwise we don't have that data, because if we gonna ignore this, you see you get back the pending promise, but we need to have the resolved promise. So do await, and then it So the await is for waiting until this one is finished and get some data back. This continue with this one until that data is back. And the console log is only gonna be executed if it got that resolved promise back from the API. So we can use this to make some HTML. So let's do a document. Well, we already got div ID app, so document query selector, because we have only one element, otherwise we should use query selector all if we have more, but we have only one, so that's easy. So in order to do something with that JSON data, we have to return it so we can do something with this. So let's put this in the HTML. And right now this doesn't look good, right? So we have the JSON.stringify, and we're gonna make a big string from it. But since this is an asynchronous function, this is not gonna work like this. So we're gonna do it on a different way. So this is part one of getting the data and returning it. So let's comment this out, because I want to have some information about my repos. For this profile, I want to show a list of the repos. So repos, we can let's do this and get data, see if it works. We can see it works. So in order to show this in the HTML, we have to create some HTML elements, and we have to loop because it's returning an array. So let's comment this out for a minute and make a function create elements. And in this function, we want to loop through the array that this function is gonna give. So we gonna add a parameter, and we're gonna call this repo data, and we want to make sure that it is an array. So if array dot is array, via this we're gonna make sure that it is an array, because otherwise we cannot loop over it. If it is not an array, we're gonna return. Just returning, just nothing, but the return statement means that it's also gonna stop at that moment. But if it is an array, we want to create a HTML element. So we're gonna create a unordered list. So UL list is in the document. So the DOM create element, and we gonna create a unordered list. And later on we're gonna fill that list, but right now I need to loop through that array. So we have that repo data dot for each. Yes, I can do a for loop, and yes, in most of the times that's gonna be a lot faster, but in terms of readability, I think the for each is excellent. So in this case, we're gonna have a parameter. I'm gonna use the arrow function because it's a lot shorter. I like to do that. So it's gonna be repo item, and then the arrow and these brackets. So right now we've created the repo. So to show that it's looping through all the repos, we gonna console log it. So repo item, and I know there's a property called name. That's a repo name. So right now this is not gonna return anything. Here we gonna call this one, and let's put this one up here, and let's comment this out. And now you can see in the console that it is looping through all my repos. So that's cool, right? But now we need to do something with that information. So we know that repo item.name has the name in it. So we have to create a variable and list item. And here we're gonna create a list item. So document dot create element. And here we gonna create a list item. And we also, in order to put text in that list item, we need to have a text node. So const list item text node is document dot create text node, and here we need to add the text in. So right now our list item text node has the information of our repository name in it, but we have to add the text node to the list item. So we're gonna do that with append child. List item append child, and we're gonna add the text node to it. But we also need to add that list item to the unordered list. So we're gonna do the same thing, append child, the list item to the UL, unordered list. And after this one is finished, we need to make sure that the unordered list is being added to the div we already have in the HTML. So document that query. No, wait. Yes, query selector, and then ID app, and then we also gonna use append child because we gonna need to add the unordered list to the HTML. And here you can see, well, let's close the console. Right now we have a full list of all the repositories that we got back from the JSON, just like here. But you can see there's a lot more information about this. But yeah, having a cool list and showing that list, that can be cool, but we also want to show our profile picture. So in order to do that, we gonna a little bit rebuild this one. So I'm just making this up on the spot. So here we gonna create a parameter called URL. Into that. And here this one is gonna do that. So we need to add this. Oh, wait. So this is functioning like that. And we can reuse that function later on. So now we're gonna create a function, create profile picture. And we have to have the profile data. And we need to make sure that let's see, let's clean this up. Now we have that. Let's comment this out for a bit. We can put this later back if we want to. But right now I want to return the data, the JSON, because I want to do this the other way around. Do we have problems? Yeah, I know that. Let's see what is happening. Console bar. So you can see that not only beginners will struggle, even if you're doing this a couple of years, you will also struggle. Console, yeah, typo, yes. Why is this not? Oh, yeah. I know what's happening. Now we're trying to return a promise because this is gonna return a promise. So let's show it. Get data dot then, and the then method, then we have two parameters, the resolve and the reject. So in this we have the resolve, so data, and we're gonna do something with this. So we're gonna call create element, and we're gonna pass data into it. You see, the getData function is returning a promise because it got the data. So that's a really cool thing, because now it is asynchronous and it is just waiting before it got the data, and then it's gonna continue. And we're gonna get the profile right now. So get data, and we're gonna use this part. And then we have the data inside of it, and that's the way console.log of the data. Let's put this one in comments. Let's clean it. So you see right now we have the username and the avatar URL. So right here we can see we want to make sure that the profile data has got the avatar URL. And if it's get that, then we can continue, and else we're gonna return, so it will stop. So let's add the image. So document that create elements, and then we need an image tag, and now we're gonna do it. It's a little bit different than appending a child in a list item. So in the image we got a source, and we're gonna put the profile avatar URL into that. And now the image has got the data, so we can add that image to the HTML. So we need document dot create selector in the ID app, and now we need to do append child, and it's the image. It's not there. Yeah, makes sense, because we're not doing anything yet with this function. You see, it's over here. But I want to have this before I get the list back. And I also want to do const a heading. Is document that create elements, and each one, and need to have the text node for the heading text node is document that create text node, and give GitHub Profile. No, we can put in there the information of the username. That's cool. So on here, we also want to make sure that the profile data has got the name. Does it have a name property? Should be, yes. So we can use that. We have the heading. Let's make some space. So right now we have to put the heading into the heading text node into the heading element, and the heading element also needs to be in the HTML. But right here we have to fill the name. This is a cool thing. Now I'm gonna replace this with the backticks. And the nice thing about this is that you can put in variables. So right now, let's close this one. We have the Github profile and the username and the image. Well, and the image we can also give a image dot width is 100 pixels. 100 pixels. Do we have? No. Wait. Just 100? Yes, just 100. So we can make it smaller. So right now I have a Github Profile component built with JavaScript. We have used the Fetch API in combination with Async and await. And this returns a promise. And then we can extract the JSON data from it. And this getData function returns a promise. And if it returns a promise, then we have the then method. That's only going to be executed when we have that data. And when we have the data, we create a profile picture. Well, we do a little bit more. And here we create elements. Well, create repo list. Let's call it like that. That's makes sense more. So right now I have all the information of my repos and my profile picture and my name in it. So we learned a bunch of things, and I wanted to make this as practical as possible so you can learn. Yeah, well, this would be basically my way of learning this. So I'm looking forward to very, very creative profiles of your GitHub. You can use Code Sandbox, you can use a code pen, whatever you want. But please, into the comments, I want to see your GitHub profile components. Style them as you like, and I'm looking forward to the creativity. So if you like this video, please do a thumbs up. If you want to have a notification if in your YouTube account, then ring the bell next to the subscribe button. And if you for sure want to also have seen all my new videos, make sure you have subscribed. So hopefully see you next time. And if you like this video, thumbs up and share it with someone else you can also learn from. See ya!